everyone, and welcome to my cozy bamboo world, where we've recently made this beautiful camel sanctuary, and these guys are just the most adorable things. I love them so much. Now, as far as what we're going to be doing for today's project, we are going to be adding in a docks area over here, which has been something we have needed since the beginning, because literally I would just come through here and park my boat right in this cove, and well, there's really nothing. And since we have our beautiful docks over there, it was way overdue that we made some docks over here. So what we're gonna do is just clean up this area, and as far as the size of our area of docks, we're going to probably have it come over here and run it all the way along this side, probably around to here. So there's a bit of terraforming that we have to do, kind of removing some of this ground in between so that our docks can meet up. So let's just start clearing out this area, and then we'll go collect our resources and get building our docks. Now, as far as our color palette for our docks, we are going to be using a dark oak and bamboo as our main color palette, with some of the mud brick walls for some of the lantern posts we'll be having. If we come flying back towards our first docks that we made in our area, we have the dark oak. We used a few of the dark oak trapdoors, but then we also used mangrove, and this is the exact same style of lamppost we're going to be using, but we're going to be using bamboo and having some of our little rafts be in here. And for the edges of our docks, we will be putting piles of little campfires that are extinguished, barrels, chests, having some ladders, and just kind of making this kind of a vibe as well. So without further ado, we are going to start grabbing a bunch of our dark oak wood and our dark oak wood logs, and we'll start building this out. So let's get started on this, shall we? All right, we've got the docks all done and decorated, and now I can show you what we've got. So on this end, we just have all of our little bamboo rafts and raft chest boats all the way around. We've got some patches of the small and large drip leaf, which I think look really good. And we pretty much have that same style of the boat docking spots all the way around, with some lily pads and large drip leaf over here as well. And against the bamboo forest backdrop, we've got all of our chests, our barrels, our campfires, all of our little things. We've even got some little fishies and shells on the ground, with some grass planted and added, and some torch flowers. And on this side, we've added our cherry blossom trees so that we get some of those particle effects. And of course, we added a spore blossom for even more particles. But we've just got the same concept over here with some fish kind of dotted around. But again, the barrels, chests, and campfires type of a vibe up here as well. But if I zoom out, I think this looks way better than what we had before. So much more official and put together, and I'm a huge fan. The next thing that I want to do is I would love to be able to set up a torii gate right in here, so that when people come in from fishing, adventuring, they get to come down our little path here and come under a torii gate. So I'm thinking we put one right around here. Now, the one thing that is going to look a little bit different for this torii gate is we are going to have it be diagonal. So instead of our torii gates being able to be placed kind of like this with the spacing, we are going to be placing it diagonally. So it is going to look a little bit different. So it's going to kind of have this type of a look since our path is coming from this direction. So to figure out the spacing, I feel like this area right in here would be perfect. So let's try placing one right here. We'll do 1, 2, 3. And then we'll place the other one right here. And then we're going to go up by 4. And there we go. And the same over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're gonna be adding trapdoors around the sides here and at this height on both of the pillars. And there we go. Next, we're gonna start kind of using some of our little upside down stairs to make our way over into meeting this area in the middle. So we're gonna grab more of our full blocks and turn these into slabs. Then we'll just have them meet in the middle like so for starters. And there we go. I think this looks really good for our area. And if I back out, it just kind of gives more of an official type of a vibe to our area. And I'm a huge fan of this. This is so cool. Now we have a little torii gate to walk through. Now, the next thing I want to work on is down by the fishing docks. I want to put a little fishing hut, and I think back here could be nice. We could maybe make a little bit of a pathway leading all the way back here where we have a fishing hut quietly surrounded by all of this bamboo. Now, the little fishing hut that I want to make is going to have a specific type of farm that I've never made before. I want to make a sea pickle farm. The reason I want to make a sea pickle farm is because the next project I want to work on is cleaning up these waterways. There's a lot of these noodle caves and places for all of our fish or axolotls to get trapped. So the project we're going to work on is closing off some of these holes, and then we're going to make them look a little bit prettier and nicer. And I think having a sea pickle farm to help light up the bottom of this is going to be great. But before we start working on the waterways, I want to make the little fishing hut that's going to house our little sea pickle farm so that we are able to just start getting all of our sea pickles gathered up while we ourselves are working on decorating the waterways and making them look a lot prettier. Now for the block palette, we are going to be using a lot of the dark oak. We're going to be using the bamboo, and we don't have a lot of mangrove, so we might not use that, but we'll start with just our dark oak and our bamboo, and we'll go from there. We will have to move our little friend here because they are a bit too close to our building area. So come on, buddy. We're gonna move you over here. Come. All right, good job. You did so good. I'm so proud of you for moving. Now for our space, I think I want to do a rectangle. So let's just start here and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And then being a rectangle, if we have 9, we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then we'll just run it along here and start with this as a shape. It doesn't need to be too big, but it does need to be big enough to house the farm. And I think I want to try using some of the mossy cobble with the green and then having some of the dark oak, and then we'll also use some moss and some regular cobble and see how that texture works. So if we start laying out some color palettes, we've got some of this green, which I think I want to use for the roof since it doesn't exactly blend the best with the mossy cobble. So I think we'll just make our walls be a little bit of a combination of the moss with the cobble and mossy cobble, and then we'll use the green version of our bamboo to be our roof variant, and I think that will look really nice. So let's get working on that. And as we come down into this little basement area, this is where we're going to set up our sea pickle farm. So I'm just gonna place my shulker box right here, and then we're just gonna start grabbing all of our items to make our little redstone sea pickle farm. So I hope you enjoy this segment of a redstone with Red. All right, we've got our sea pickle farm all set up, and now it is time for the explanation part of Redstone with Red. After I had to demolish my floor to make space because this does get a little tall for what we're dealing with. But essentially, what we have here is these dispensers are filled with bone meal. They are going to be bone mealing these sea pickles, and there are 2 blocks of coral. These 4 sea pickles are the max you can have on a block. So then the bone meal will then cause these sea pickles to spread over to these sea pickles, which then this observer notices that there's stuff on top of the block. So then it triggers the sticky piston that's underneath this to move the block and kind of shake the items off of this coral block. And then those are the sea pickles that then get picked up by this little hopper minecart, and they'll go in here. So we're gonna see if I did this right. Okay. See, you can see the sea pickles are starting to get picked up. It is a little loud, so we're gonna momentarily turn this down for a bit, but you can see that the bone meal is spreading. These 4 sea pickles are spreading onto this block, which then are getting bone mealed and growing on this block, and the observer's picking that up, and we have a working sea pickle farm. So now we're going to be easily able to just use all of the bone meal from our skeleton farm, and we officially have a working redstone sea pickle farm. I'd say that was successful. No breaks, no nothing, just pure success. Thank you for joining me for this Redstone with Red segment. Let's keep building. And we are going to quickly fix up our floor, and then it's time to move on to the next part of our building. So we're going to pick up all of our little chests, our bed, all of our little goodies, and we're going to move them over to our waterways, which is the next part of what we're going to be working on, getting all nice and pretty, and well, hopefully it'll be lit up and we won't have these guys to deal with anymore. And I just realized that I almost forgot to show you guys how our little fisherman's hut turned out. Here is what we have, and I'm really happy with it. Initially, I was just going to leave it being just this one first layer, but then after looking at it, I felt like it needed some additional height, so we added the second floor. On the outside, we have lanterns on all 4 of the corners. We've got some glowberries, we've got some potted torch flowers all the way around. The roof layers have the flowering azaleas potted and just the regular azalea bushes. And that's actually the same thing on the roof. If I go into free cam, you can see that we also put some little potted plants on the roof. And I think it looks really cute and cozy. Lots of light, lots of leaves, lots of little potted plants, and I really like it. If we go on the inside, we've got all of our storage. We've got some fish drying because this is the fisherman's hut. We've got some books that are books we've fished up from our little fishing docks and using those. So I think that's just a perfect addition as well. And if we go down here, we have the pickle farm. And if we go up here, I haven't really finished this room out, but I think this is gonna be the perfect spot to just have a little bedroom nook. So that's kind of what I'm thinking we'll put up here. We might get a little bed right here. We could even put a second bed up here if we want to have 2 fishermen potentially. But this is how it turned out, and I really like it. My favorite feature is definitely using the chiseled bookshelves for all of the books that we fish up from going to our docks and just fishing along our docks over here. And I have already kind of started to put some of our little drops from fishing inside there, but I think it's great. The docks and the fishing hut are just such a good addition to this area. And now that I actually did show you the final result of our fishing hut, it is time to start actually working on the waterways. Now, with the ground in here, if I go into free cam to show you, I'm thinking we'll use a lot of the mud and mangrovey muddy roots in here. So we are going to need to collect a ton of mud up, and then we're going to use the mud to also kind of close up some of these holes that just create some noodle caves and some bits where our axolotls and our fish that we'll add into here could get stuck. So we're going to first start collecting some of our mud. So let's go over to our mangrove over here and collect a ton of mud up.
A few moments later.
So I turned around just as a creeper was blowing me up. That's great. I have not died in this world for so long. I was doing so good. I was just, literally all I was doing was trying to shoot this creeper, which I got, but then I turned around and there's creepers everywhere because I definitely didn't sleep through the night. Oh yes, now I have you. Yep, no thank you. Oh my goodness. It's fine. We're getting all of our stuff back. We're fine. We love that. Just kidding, we don't. But I do need to make sure that this creeper is gone. Otherwise, I'm gonna get got all over again. All right, to give you an update on where we are at, we've got tons of shulkers full with our different mud and the muddy mangrove roots. So I'm gonna call it here, I think, before I accidentally die again. But let's start working on some waterways. It'll be a little bit more peaceful. I kind of want that at this point. And we just fixed up all of our tools, so now we are ready to go back through our portal and actually start terraforming. And to give you guys an update, we have all of the seagrass bone meal. We've got the coral, the fan corals, the coral blocks. We've got some amethysts, some amethyst crystals. We've even got some shroom lights with some coral. And this place is looking so good. This is such a night and day difference to what we had before. But the next thing that I want to do is I do want to grab some more kind of fish life or axolotl life. So I think the next thing that I want to focus on doing is going around and grabbing a bunch of our axolotls, because I could put more fish in here, but honestly, I think axolotls will look the best in here because they're a little bit larger, they're more colorful, easier to spot from far away. So we're going to find some more of our axolotl friends in the caves and bring them to our ponds. Now, part of this will be grabbing some empty shulkers, and we need to grab a ton of little buckets because we're going to not only grab axolotls in the buckets, but I'm also going to go and grab some tropical fish so that we can breed our little axolotls up and get a lot of them in our area much quicker. So we'll just grab some buckets and go to town collecting up axolotls and tropical fish. Okay, and we've got all of our buckets of tropical fish, and we have a ton of axolotls. So now let's bring these home and let them free inside our area and breed up a ton of axolotls. And just like that, we've got axolotls inside our enclosure swimming around. I inadvertently made a squid ink and salmon farm because they just keep, spawning in here, and then, well, the axolotls kind of start attacking them. So we're just kind of finding salmon and squid ink on the surface, which is kind of funny, but I'll take it. I can always use some additional salmon and squid ink. Aside from our inadvertent ink sac farm, this looks gorgeous. I am absolutely in love with it. From an aerial view, this place looks so much more complete now that we've officially decorated all of our waterways. Oh, yep, there we go. squid farm at work. But I cannot get enough of this. It's beautiful. It's so peaceful and serene. I love this so much. And coming down our path, we made this beautiful torii gate. We even made a sea pickle farm hidden within a fisherman's hut. The sea pickle farm is working so well. We have a beautifully decorated fisherman's hut and the coziest exterior leading to our little docks here. But on that note, that is all the time I have for today's episode. I hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget to leave a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.